Lester. I'm back for another video in my new series about what a writer actually gets up to all day. So if you watched my video on Tuesday, you'll remember I said that over the next month I'm going to be doing lots of research and reading through a whole lot of research books that I'd gathered. And so Tuesday started off really well. I read through a whole book and I was patting myself on the back thinking I'm so great. And then things went a little bit slower after that, but in a good way. So one of the other things that I obviously spend a lot of time doing is finding research materials from archives, and they can sometimes be a bit tricky to find those materials. And I've learnt that one of the best things a writer can learn is the art of the internet search. So the search terms you put into Google are actually incredibly important to determine the quality of information you might get back from your Google search. So for instance, I'm researching right now for my 2023 book, a real life person about whom very little is actually known and written on the historical record. What has been written about her are, say, 3 or 4 anecdotes that are very gossipy in nature. They aren't sourced, so it's impossible to know whether they're true. And I have a vague feeling that there's more to the story than what actually exists in print. So with my internet searches, obviously I've searched this person's name. Unfortunately, she used a number of different names throughout her life, so that can make things in some ways a little easier and in some ways a little trickier. But when you're searching, we all know the trick of, putting the person's name in inverted commas in the search field, so you only get search results with those 2 names attached together. But another really good tip is inverting the names. So for example, say you are searching for Natasha Lester. So rather than just typing in Natasha Lester, typing in Lester, Natasha, because often in a finding aid in an archive, say for example, there's a list of correspondence, people that they might have written letters to. In the finding aid, their names will be written alphabetically by surname, so it'll be Lester, Natasha. So if I type that into my Google search field, then I'm going to get a whole lot of different results than if I type in Natasha Lester. So there's those little tricks that you learn along the way as a researching writer. And anyway, that proved to be quite fruitful for me during the week. I was in contact with an archive who sent me scans of a whole lot of letters written by this person that I'm researching, which I didn't know existed, and no one else really has written about these in their books on her. And that also came with a description written by Cecil Beaton, a famous fashion photographer, about the woman I'm writing about. And he's got a couple of names for her at the top of his piece. And so I then went and researched one of these other names that he's got here for her. There are databases like Ancestry.com that people use often for family tree research, but they're really useful also for historical research into real people. So anyway, so I used one of the names that he's got here for her in Ancestry.com, and there's all kinds of stuff in there, birth records, death records, but there are also passenger manifests for steamships and aeroplanes that travelled, say, from Paris to New York, throughout the 20th century. And so I found her name in a couple of passenger manifests, steamship records. This one's in 1929, which then in the manifest, they have to provide the name of the person who they're spending their time with when they're in New York, and their address. And so that led me to discover where this woman worked during the late 1920s and early 1930s, which was a big gap in all of the research. I had no idea. So just something as simple as, a shipping record can lead you to uncover a whole lot of facts. When you look at the name of, the place where she was supposed to be spending her time, I Googled that. I discovered what that place was. It was somewhere that took in French fashion sketches and transformed them into copies for the American fashion market. So that was really fascinating, and you find those kinds of things and you get a real research kind of high. So it's taken me ages, like literally all of Wednesday and all of Thursday, to do all of this digging, and my eyeballs felt like they were falling out of my head by the end of Thursday. So in terms of, if you looked at the quantity of information I've got, it's very little, but it's actually really important. So I've basically finished what I think I can do with all those different names and searches at the moment. So I'm going to go back to my reading and see what else comes up out of this sort of description that Cecil Beaton's written, and these letters that my character wrote to Cecil Beaton during the 1950s and 60s. So hopefully I get more little facts out of there that I can then go and research and find some more archival material or more primary source material. So that has been my last couple of days. So what does a writer get up to all day? Well, not much in terms of output, but a lot in terms of sort of story progress, I guess. The last thing I'm going to do just very quickly is a couple of people asked me some questions on my last post, and I thought I would pick one of those out and answer that for you. So someone asked me whether there's a word limit that I aim for each book, and the simple answer to that is vaguely. I like to try to have my first drafts come in around 100,000 words, because I know that when I do the research between the first and second draft, the second draft is naturally going to become longer. So I want to underwrite the first draft, so I've got room to put in all the extra information in the second draft. My books generally end up being just under 130,000 words. This 2023 book, unfortunately, the first draft has come in at 130,000 words. So I know already I'm going to be struggling to compress this story, and I'm going to have to work out a way to do that. But that's another story in a day in a writer's life. So I'll hopefully manage to get back online next week and do a couple of episodes again for you to let you know what I'm up to, and hopefully to share with you some more exciting research discoveries. So I hope you all have a great weekend, whatever you're doing. Thanks for listening.